Please stand for the entry of our official guests. And now, please, applause for the stars of our night, the class of 2020. Okay, please remain standing. Students, please stand for the national anthem. Please be seated. I would like to formally welcome you all here this evening. It's not by pure chance that these young people are here tonight. It's the culmination of 12 years of formal schooling for our students, and of course the tireless efforts of their families who've stood beside them all along the way. I'd also like to welcome our teaching staff who have supported them on this journey across the years. I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce our official guests. Mrs. Sue Cuneo, Regional Executive Director, South Metropolitan Education Region. Mrs. Beverly Maloney, School Board. Mayor David Good, JP, the Mayor of the City of Goslals. Mrs. Michelle Manolas, the P&C President. Mr. Chris Talentire, MLA, Member for Thornlie. Mr. David Spray, Goslals Lions Club President. And CPO Craig Weller, the Australian Defence Force. Also, I'd like to welcome our administration staff today, Mrs. Donna McDonald, the Principal, Mr. Paul Beecham, Deputy Principal of the Senior School, Mr. David DeMeo, Deputy Principal of Curriculum, Mr. Glenn Henley, Deputy Principal of Welfare, and of course, Mrs. Rebecca Miller, the Year 12 Coordinator. Joining us this evening is Denise Head, who is going to share with us a moment of reflection to start our evening. Thank you, Denise.
Good evening, everybody. A big welcome to and congratulations to our Year 12s. They have done an outstanding job to get this far. And also welcome to the families as well, and friends, extended family. And of course, our staff, who have been in charge of teaching and sometimes pushing and shoving to try and get assignments and study done for tests and exams from your amazing students. I'd just like to start off because I always come back to it takes a village to raise a child. So if you just think, Year 12s and families, how many people have actually had an input into your life? There's many people, if you added them up, you wouldn't have enough fingers and toes. There's been teachers, there's been sporting people, there's been friends and aunties and uncles, grandparents. Many people have had an input into your life. So now as you finish one journey, you commence another one. And this journey that you've finished is your formal schooling up to Year 12, but it's not over now because you're starting on a new journey. And there'll be all the things that you've learnt along the way that you will need to put into practice, whether you go to TAFE or uni, or do an apprenticeship, or into the workforce, or whatever it is you do. Try and do something. You need something to get out of bed each morning and get yourself into a better place of where you want to be. Because you'll need a good job at the end of it, and everybody does need a good job. So good on you for getting that far. Now I'd like to just talk about a few keys. Some of your hands up, who did Keys for Life? So that's a pretty good number of Year 12 students who have done Keys for Life. It's a very important program that is in the school. It's to help keep you safe. So remember all that you learnt pre-driver training to keep you safe on the road. But I'd like to just take a moment just to think about two other keys to life. One is resilience, because along your journey, whether you're doing an apprenticeship or you're still studying, you're going to have hard times that come along. You're going to have family issues, you have finance issues, you have relationship issues, all the sorts of problems that you have maybe seen somebody else or families go through. You will do that. You'll suffer those things as well. And so resilience is the ability to bounce back. So that's an important key to keep with you as well. So when you pick up your keys to lock the house or you're about ready to jump in the car, just think about having resilience, which will help you when things get tough, and they help us to get through and bounce back. And there's also another key, which is also in our banner, which is perseverance. We all need to stick at what we do. So if you haven't achieved what you wanted to in Year 12, or you don't achieve next year or the year after, find a way to go to where you need to be. Because there's lots of chances, there's lots of opportunities, and the education system now is so much more than it used to be. So if you don't succeed the first time, try again and again. So once again, congratulations to Year 12, and congratulations to families and teachers too. Thank you.
Cantonese. And to begin tonight's official proceedings, it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Donna MacDonald for the Principal's farewell address.
Before I commence my official address, I just want to check that Mr. Abraham's not in the auditorium. On behalf of Mr. Abraham, who unfortunately couldn't make it this evening, I acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, to acknowledge and celebrate the achievements of the delightful young people who are Thornlie Senior High School's Year 12 students. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We extend our recognition to their descendants who are present tonight. We also recognise all Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people who have contributed to the education of these young people. Good evening. Special guests, Mrs. Sue Cuneo, Regional Executive Director, Mr. Chris Talentire, AM MLA and School Board Member, Mrs. Bev Maloney, School Board Member representing the Chair, Mrs. Teresa Lyons, CPO Craig Weller, Royal Australian Air Force Reserves, Mrs. Michelle Maloney, our P&C President, Mr. David Spray, President Gosnell's Lions Club, and our virtual guest speaker tonight, Miss Caitlin Parker, Olympic boxer and graduate of class of 2013. Parents, family, staff, and most importantly, class of 2020. Tonight we celebrate 6 years, and the 6 years that we've had the pleasure of spending with this group of talented, cohesive, and fun-loving young adults. Tonight's ceremony is a celebration of what has been and the launch of what will be. A farewell to secondary schooling and a welcome to the world of challenge and opportunity. I think parents would agree it only seems like yesterday that in February 2015 you were farewelling your children off to big school after their years in primary education. Probably a little bit nervous as we were, because we had the pleasure of welcoming this enthusiastic group into Thornlie, along with a group of Year 8s, because they were the double cohort. So over 300 students joined us on day 1 of 2015. And it was a beginning made all the more special because it was the first day of us as an independent public school. This group have been through lots of challenges, not the least teachers adapting to the WA curriculum, the move to more and more formal testing to demonstrate their competency in literacy and numeracy through NAPLAN and that wonderful thing called the OLNA, and of course the raising of standards with waste requirements. It was very important to us as an independent public school to rebrand, to reprofile and to renew all that we were doing at Thornlie. In 2016, your second year, we developed our school motto, engage, inspire, achieve. We had a strong reputation for high care, and after that we began to focus even more directly on becoming a high-performance school. We worked very hard with the school board and the P&C to make lots of thoughtful change to refresh our school programs and most importantly our buildings, particularly in the last 12 months. In 2019, just last year, we became a positive behaviour school, embracing our agreed values of respect, responsibility, perseverance and pride. Thornlie High School students dream big, and they leave us with the skills and knowledge to make their dreams a reality. Fast forward to day 1 of this year. We had a very smooth start to the school year. And little did we know that 2020 was going to become a historic year globally. The emergence of a worldwide unique virus saw our lives locked down and turned upside down to remote learning. That was in term 1. Teachers advanced 10 years in 10 days as we all quickly learned how to put our programs online. And just as suddenly as that began, in term 2, we returned to a whole new normal. To say the least, COVID-19 has tested staff, students, families, all alike. Fortunately, we've seen at Thornlie Senior High School this young group persevere, and their resilience and their care has made them very strong as individuals. Each one of the members of the class of 2020 have taken their own pathway, managing remote and or face-to-face learning. They've had lots of support from their families, their friends, and their teachers. And that makes them the confident young people sitting here with us tonight. I think we all acknowledge that we're very fortunate to sit safely on the luckiest side of the luckiest country in the world. And it truly is our responsibility to take hold of every opportunity offered to us and not waste a moment of that good fortune. We have an education system in WA that aims to assist every student to take their place in the workforce and to become responsible, contributing global citizens. And this amazing group of young people have indeed taken advantage of the resources offered to them and seen Thornlie build on our long-held reputation of being an incredibly diverse, caring and welcoming school. As a fully comprehensive school, we cater for university training and work-bound students. We hold dear our hard-won accreditation as a registered training organisation, and the majority of our Year 12s tonight leave us having successfully attained a certificate too. Thornlie is passionate about preparing rounded students for the real world. We're all in this together. That's been a well-used phrase this year. And I'm also pleased to say that as a school, we're located in a community that actively engages with us in helping our students be the best they possibly can. Dedicated parents and community members give of their time and expertise to actively guide the school's strategic direction and to value add in resourcing our school. Tonight we acknowledge all members of our school board and PNC and thank Mrs Teresa Lyons and Mrs Michelle Manolis for their leadership. Our students over their 6 years at our school have enjoyed many advantages from the ongoing relationships that we've established with both local and multinational business partners and our highly valued community partners. Our local, federal and state government members, Mr Matt Keogh and Mr Chris Talentire. The Gosnell City Council, led by Mr Mayor David Good. The ABCN network, Gosnell's Lions Club and the Rotary Club of Southern Districts, just to name a few. We're also incredibly well supported by our local universities, and each one of our students has visited those campuses and increased their knowledge and skills. Many of our students, we're proud to say, have early offers, and we wish them well for the WACE exams coming up very, very shortly. Most importantly, we're incredibly lucky to have outstanding student leaders. I thank all of our Year 12 elected and selected student leaders for their outstanding school spirit, their excellent organisational skills, and the wonderful ability to make every formal and informal event a success. We all applaud your work in upholding Thornlie's long-held academic, sporting and social traditions, particularly in a year where we never quite knew what was happening next week. We loved cheering on at the netball rugby competitions, the athletics carnival, the fun of the Are You OK Day, the mess of the colour run, the awesome musical events that were both face-to-face and virtual, and those beautiful cheer and dance showcases. As always, your generosity in raising funds for the cause of your choice doesn't go unnoticed. And I don't think anyone sitting here tonight that was a part of our exceptional Enchanted Night School Ball in August will forget that evening. In particular, I thank our student council and our house captains who have worked tirelessly with Mr Doyle and Mr Firth, and we thank you for the role that you've undertaken in building a school culture of challenge, of high expectations, and most importantly, achievement. Because tonight, we acknowledge every single student here as an achiever. Our highest achievers will also be presented with scholarships and prizes that will support them in the next phase of their learning journey. So Year 12s, as I said earlier, most of you came to us in 2015 and you trained lots of year coordinators, Mrs Ring, Mr Marks, Mrs Parsons, Miss Collins and Miss Miller. And each one of those people worked along our very hard-working deputies, Mr Henley, Mr DeMayo, Mr Norcliffe, who is off wandering out yonder at the moment, and now Mr Beecham. Every one of those people enjoyed getting to know you, learning your unique talents, and finding the ways to help you become the mature young adults that we see before us tonight. Your classroom teachers and our tireless support staff all learnt how to get the best out of you and worked hard to bring you to where we are now, where you, as the graduating class, are the most successful academic performers of your year group. It's exceptionally heartening to see the strong, caring and accepting relationships that you've established with your fellow students, along with the staff and the local community when you have represented us out on excursions and in the workplace. And I know that long after you leave this ceremony, you will remember fondly the people you shared this phase of your life's journey with. And I hope you keep in touch with all of those special people. Most importantly, graduating class, as you look around you tonight, we know that you didn't reach this end point on your own. It was with your families, your coaches, your mentors, and your friends sitting around you today. Their love and support helped you along the way. So thank you to our parents and caregivers for sharing your children with us over their time at Thornlie. We also thank you for your support of the work that we undertake every single day to create confident, critical thinkers who are prepared exceptionally well to leave Thornlie Senior High and take on all of the challenges and all of the opportunities that life will bring them beyond tonight. So now we've come to the end of what has been. Your secondary education journey is complete. So now to what will be. Well, that's actually totally up to you. So to our talented ATAR students, our general students, our vet students, and our big picture students, our gifted artists, our inspiring dancers, singers and musicians, our outstanding sports people, and our future leaders of the community, business and industry. The borders will open again, so set sail into the future, for the world is in your hands from tonight. Your results over your time at our school have shown us that your future is bright and the opportunities that lay before you are boundless. It is up to you to take the Thornlie spirit of ohana, of family, with you. Grasp every opportunity offered and choose thoughtfully the pathway that will enhance your life and that of others. Because I think never more than now, the world needs you each to be leaders and to show genuine care for our globe and everyone on it. We entrust in you that you will make the world a better place in the years to come. Class of 2020, go from here knowing that you are prepared for your future. Engage in your passion, follow what inspires you, and achieve your goals. So finally, in the words of Mark Twain, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the class of 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. McDonald. I'm now very pleased to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening, a graduate from the class of 2013, Caitlin Parker. Caitlin is an Olympian boxer. She's qualified for the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, and she's represented Australia at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games in 2018. Caitlin can't be with us in person tonight, but has kindly sent her keynote address to the class of 2020 in a video for you to watch.
Good evening, I'm Caitlin Parker. I graduated from Thornlie Senior High School all the way back in 2013, and I've recently qualified for the Tokyo Olympic Games now in 2021. As a boxer, I've competed for Australia since I was 15. This has enabled me to do so many amazing things with my sport. I've travelled to many countries around the world that I never thought I'd go to, experiencing many different cultures and meeting incredible people. I'm a 7-time Australian champion, silver medalist at the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and have won 2 World Championship medals. I wasn't just handed these opportunities. I wasn't naturally talented at boxing. I just started with a raw determination to beat the boys and worked extremely hard to get to where I am. The skills came next. I've wanted to go to the Olympic Games for as long as I can remember, although I didn't really know what sport that would be. I grew up in Gosnells and attended Thornlie High School from year 8 to year 12, and I sat in the same position as you are 7 years ago. 3 key things that I've learned through my life that are important for achieving success are taking responsibility for yourself and your future, being adaptable to those bumps that get in your path, and setting goals big and small and always working towards them. My journey is different to yours, and so is every other person's in this room. I have achieved despite many setbacks. It's all a part of life's journey. I loved being a part of the Thornlie High School community, and it has played such a big part in my journey to be where I am today. My favourite subject was outdoor ed, and if I could go back to some of those camps again with Mr. Zambon and Furphy, I would. I love being a part of the rugby program and obviously being with friends every day. I was fortunate to have some great teachers that helped me keep up with my school workload and exams while I had to travel to pursue my sport. There was this time that made me feel truly supported was after I had a picture on the front cover of the local paper, and a couple of the teachers put the clipping on the wall, and it just showed me how proud they were and how they wanted me to do well. And I still get support from my previous teachers now, and some have even come to watch me compete. What I enjoyed most about coming out of school into adulthood was the independence that comes with making my own decisions and being responsible for my own future. Coming out of school, I felt that I began to find my own path, and so did my friends. This is a time to be there for your friends, but without trying to sound cheesy, it's now time to stand on your own 2 feet and to take the lessons that you learned through your school experience and learn new ones. Explore your interests and pursue what you're passionate about. My journey hasn't been smooth sailing. I've hit a whole lot of speed bumps on the way. I truly thought that I was going to go to the previous Olympic Games in Rio in 2016. And I went to the qualifications in Kazakhstan and China with the full belief that I would be there. I was supposed to be there, but it didn't happen. My Olympic dream was unfulfilled, and I felt as if everything was against me. But in hindsight, at 20 years old, I had a long way to go. It is hard to think positively in those moments. It wasn't meant to be, and I came up short, and I was heartbroken and shattered. For me, when I experienced this setback, I was lucky enough to have the support of my family and friends. I needed to refocus and overcome those negative emotions to reset my goals for the 2020 Olympic Games and in between that the Commonwealth Games. And it seemed so far away at the time. During your lifetime, most of you will come up against obstacles. It is important for you to remember not to let these deter you. Deal with them how you need to without straying off your pathway. Instead, use these moments as fuel to make you even more determined to achieve your goals. If you aren't able to get into your desired career or course straight away, don't give up. There are many other ways to achieve that goal by going down an alternative pathway. Your ultimate goal may seem out of reach or far off, but if you set yourself smaller, achievable goals as stepping stones, it becomes more realistic and achievable. For me, that is trying to beat my times in running or mastering a new technical skill. For you, it could be improving your communication skills, completing a uni degree or diploma, building healthy relationships, getting a trade, or improving your skills to increase job chances. It is so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimating the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. I would not be qualified for the Olympics without making those small improvements and being adaptable to when those road bumps came. I have come a long way from this major setback. I represented Australia at the Commonwealth Games 2 years later, where I earned a silver medal and received the honour of captaining a team of men and women to the most successful Australian boxing team in Commonwealth Games history. It didn't stop there though. My lifelong dream was the Olympic Games. And this has been a lengthy process filled with many challenges. Most recently, the Olympic qualification process for this year, where after winning selections in Australia, I was selected to fly to Wuhan in China in February. Now, as you may know, Wuhan was the epicenter for the coronavirus pandemic. So 2 days before flying there, the city went into lockdown, and obviously the qualifications were shifted to happen in Jordan 5 weeks later. I was prepared, peaked, and ready, so I had to stay positive, be adaptable to the situation, and set myself the goal of being in even better condition in 5 weeks' time. I came into the qualifiers with a back injury, a broken nose, and that I was so scared that those would affect me in my bout. I went into my qualifying fight the most nervous I'd ever been. I ended up winning the bout unanimously and cried because I was so overwhelmed that I'd finally made an Olympic team and I was one step closer to achieving my ultimate goal, an Olympic gold medal. And although the Olympic Games have been postponed until next year, I'm not disappointed. It's the same goal, just a different timeline, and now I adjust the smaller goals in between. I've waited this long already, I can wait another year. There is a pressure on you all to know what you want to do for the rest of your life right now. It is so great if you know what you want to pursue. Go for it. If not, that's okay too. I came out of school wanting to pursue my passion in life, boxing, and I've had boxing as my sole focus for so long, and I now realise that I needed some balance and an alternative focus. I have gone back to study for my future career now, and I'm super proud of myself for that fact. Everyone's journey is completely different. People will reach certain milestones in their life sooner than others, so don't compare your path with anyone else. It's about trusting the process and knowing that if you keep working towards those goals that you set, you will end up where you want to be. You should work on having that self-belief, always working towards bettering yourself in all aspects of life. Remember that nothing just gets handed to you on a silver platter. that you need to take the initiative and responsibility for your future and work hard for what you want in life. I really wish that I was able to deliver this message in person to cheer and congratulate you all for reaching this milestone and completing 12 years of school. You should all be so proud of yourselves and see how your family and friends who are here and at home are proud of you too. My advice to you all, set yourself those short and long-term goals, be adaptable to those speed bumps and pick yourself straight up and soldier on if things don't go your way. And lastly, take responsibility for your future. Thornlie has had some remarkable people come out of those gates over the years. It's time now for you to join them and achieve your best in whatever you strive for. I wish you all well, and again, a massive congratulations.
Thank you, Caitlin. Isn't it amazing how, even though she's not here, that she could actually tune into where we're at as a group here at Thornlie this year, and the resilience that we've all had to show this year. I love her message about dreaming big, and I hope we all take that with us as well today. Now we're going to move through the certificates, presenting from A to L. You'll also see faces up on the board. There'll be photographs taken as well, so please be aware that people are posing for a little snap there. And there's also that folder that they're taking away with the USB in it. I'm now going to call upon Mrs. McDonald to present these certificates. She'll be assisted by Ms. Miller and the student counsellors Rani and Ryan, who've been practicing a lot of name pronunciation. So I'd like to call them to the lecture. Thank you.
Good evening, staff, students, special guests, teachers, and parents. I'd like now to talk to. Now to call out the students' names. Kareem Al-Rubi. Adam Aling. Christian Almario. Elise Armstead. Caitlin Armstrong. Rio Ailing. And Louise Bagay. Keegan Bamba. Charze Banks. Emily Benbow. Bianca Boxall Kent. Romney Brown. Liam Burke. William Byers. Chelsea Cayley. Michaela Carwell. Nurjana Halifa. Hong Yu Chen. Abdullah Yunus Cirillo. Tiana Collins. Rahana Daisy. Luke Garrington. Joshua Davies. Rhiannon Davies. Brody Dwyer. Jasmine Donnelly. Tahana Edwards Takiwa. Levi Emil Wijon. Baden Falconbridge. Ollie Fotlawi. Tyler Field. Natalie Fu. Ryota Fu. Cleo Foster. Jasmine Gaff. Alexander Garden. Marcus Gill. Angeline Goh. Michael Goodwin. Chelsea Gray. Ajmira Gray.
Genesee Haimona. Casey Hallett. Noor Hassan. Liam Hines. Justin Hidalgo. Hartley Hapona. Rochelle Holmes. Talia Horsley. Mitchell Hovard. Paige Hurley. Shamaki Hussain. Asad Ibrahim. Tyler Ilalohiha. Hussain Jafari. Tara Jenny Wambeck. Adriel Jones. Pascal Kabamba. Ohana Kahu. Yusuf Caravan. Lee Kirchhoff. Jacob Kerr. Hayley Kopp, Vutnamar Kunai, Jared Kuras, Cassandra Land, Timothy Lee, Jai Leg, Christopher Leon, Mingyu Lee, Yan Lee, Cameron Lydia, Jackie Lim, Amy Lynn, Jaden Liu,
Thank you, Mrs McDonald and Ms Miller, and also to Rani and Ryan. Well done. We're now moving into the Learning Area Awards. I'd like to ask Mr Paul Beecham to come forward to present the Learning Area Awards in conjunction with the Head of Learning Areas. Could all recipients of these awards please wait on stage until all awards from their learning area have been announced. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Bateman. First awards we have tonight are the Arts, and they will be presented by Mrs Laurie Lockyer, standing right there. First award, Certificate 2 in Creative Industries, Baden Falconbridge. Certificate 2 in Dance, Rhiannon Davies. Certificate 2 in Visual Arts, Jackie Lim. You all know who will win the next one. Media Production Analysis General, Marcus Gill. And Music General, this could take a little bit longer, Raphael Shepherd. Raph tripped over his guitar case on Sunday. The next awards will be presented by Mrs Donna McDonald for Career in Vocational Education. The first award, Excellence in Vet Award, goes to Genevieve Norman. And the Endeavour Award goes to Josh Simmons. Congratulations, thank you, Mrs McDonald. The next learning area is Design and Digital Technologies, presented by Mr Steve Young. First award, Applied Information Technology General, Timothy Lee. Business Management and Enterprise ATAR, Mark Scamozzi. Certificate 2 in Business, Lee Kirchhoff. Certificate 2 in Community Services, Talia Horsley. Certificate 2 in Engineering Pathways, Blake Satterthwaite. Certificate 2 in Hospitality, Rochelle Holmes. Computer Science ATAR, Dev Kumar Patel. Food Science and Technology General, Kaylin Way. Materials Design and Tech Metals General, Jacob Kerr. Steam Project, Ivan Nazarov. And Technical Graphics General, Liam Hines. Congratulations to those winners. Thank you, Mr. Young. We now have the English and Languages Awards presented by Mr. Will Bromley. English as an additional language, ATAR, Brianna Tuazon. English as an additional language, General, Rajveer Singh. English ATAR, and I hope I pronounced this name correctly, Zoe Smith. English Foundation, Hayley Kopp. English General, Baden Falconbridge. And Japanese ATAR, Jaden Liu. We now have the Health and Physical Education Awards, presented by Mr. John Foken. So, Certificate 2 in Sport and Recreation, and definitely one of the best 3 haircuts I've ever seen, Caleb Monk. Straight out of Wimbledon. Health Studies ATAR, Justin Vivas. Health Studies General and Outdoor Education General, Hayley Payne. Physical Education Studies General, Riley Payett Smith. Studies Rugby General, Jacob Kerr. Congratulations, Mr. Fulton. We now have the Humanities and Social Sciences Awards presented by Mr. Dave DeMayo. Ancient History General, Lee Kirchhoff. Career and Enterprise General, Chelsea Gray. And Politics and Law, ATAR, Mark Scamozzi. The next learning area is mathematics, presented by Mrs. Van Dijk Dillon. Mathematics Applications ATAR, Iota Fu. Mathematics Essentials General, Joe Craig. Mathematics Foundation, Caleb Takamore. Mathematics Methods, ATAR, Raphael Shepherd. And Mathematics Specialist ATAR, Dev Kumar Patel. Congratulations, thank you, Mr. Dillon. The final subject awards are the Science Awards presented by Mr. Jose Cuenca. Chemistry, ATAR, Sri Thota. Human Biology ATAR, Hongyan Chen. Integrated Science General, Tiana Collins. And Physics ATAR, Hongyan Chen.
Once again, I ask Mrs McDonald to present the certificates assisted by Ms Miller and read out by our head boy and head girl, Tiana Carey and Joe Craig.
Cameron McFarlane. Hendrix Manabat. Mika Mapulisa. Joe Matthews. John Matugas. Indigo Maxwell. Matthew McKay. Kobe Michael McLaughlin. Jacob Mitchison Brown. Willow Mullen. Caleb Monk. Jesse Mosen. Connor Murphy. Ivan Nazarov. Patrick Needham. Charlie NG. Jordan Nichols. Genevieve Norman. Nazira Omarich. Shani Papafotis. Hasley. Dev Kumar Patel. Riley Payette Smith. Hayley Payne. Sarah Phillips Mitchell. Joshua Reynolds. Jordan Reynolds. Amber Richards. Zenith Riley. Stephanie Roselles. Lydia Rock. Bella Salomon. Chelsea Sampson. Delma Sanyasi. Blake Satterthwaite. Mark Scamozzi.
Taryn Scurry. Raphael Shepherd. Chelsea Sim. Rajveer Singh. Jake Smedley. Ariana Smith. Ethan Smith. Melaine Smith. Zoe Smith. Samuel Sutton. Josh Simons.
Caleb Tuckamore. David Taylor. Nick Tamara. Alex Thompson. Sharima Harthota. Frank Tia. Sophie Tolan. Alex C. Rahel Sagai Zacharias. Brianna Twazon. Malachi Tui Polotu. Aiden Turner. Fridaway Upakono. Trey Vanderland. Judd Venables. Maui Vittori Lung. Justin Vivas. Brooklyn Way. Kaylin Way. Bonnie Ward. Giselle Ward Johnson. Shayla Williams. Ella Wilson. Sebastian Wood. Shijin Zhu. Kara Ziri. And last of all, but certainly not least, Mason Zuen.
Thank you, Ms McDonald and Ms Miller, and of course Tiana and Joe. Now I'd like to ask Mrs McDonald to present to the Year 12 counsellors some special words of thanks.
As I mentioned in my address, our school leaders this year have again done us proud, and it's my honour to present their graduation certificates to Ryan Kurawan. And as our third counsellor, please congratulate Rani Brown. And it's a big job when you're not only elected to the Student Council, but you also win the position of head boy and head girl. So please congratulate our head girl, Tiana Carey. And our head boy, who's done a mighty job this year, please join me in congratulating Joe Craig.
Thank you, Mrs McDonald. We're now moving to the special awards for the evening. I'd like to invite our special guests also to present these awards, the Community Service Awards and the Ducks Awards. The first award we have is the Donna Farragar MLC Leadership and Service to the Arts Award. This will be presented by Laurie Lockyer, Head of Arts, on behalf of Honourable Donna Farragar.
This student has been part of the instrumental music program for 6 years, learning classical and contemporary guitar. They have assisted in writing the school song and have taken part in community music projects, and in 2020 was awarded music captain. This student is currently one of the top students in the areas of media and music alike. He was instrumental in recording the videos for the 2020 Dance Showcase and was a musician and videographer for the 2020 Virtual Music Concert. This student is one of the most dedicated, passionate, politeful and respectful students who embodies all of the 4 PBS values and our school motto, engage, inspire and achieve. It is a pleasure to present this award to Liam Burke.
Next we have 2 awards, the Australian Defence Force Long Tang Leadership Teamwork Award and the Australian Defence Force Future Innovators Award, and these will be presented by the CPO Craig Weller of the ADF.
Thanks,
thanks for inviting me as a representative of the Australian Defence Force for the 2020 Long-Term Youth Leadership Awards. I'm Chief P Officer Craig Weller, and I've served over 25 years in the Royal Australian Navy. Thornlie Senior High School is one of over 2,000, better put that zero in the right place, schools that participate in the Long-Term Youth Leadership and Teamwork Awards. The Department of Defence provides the Long-Term Award so that young people can appreciate the wider role the Australian Defence Force plays and the importance we attach to the culture of service and duty. This stands us aside from many other organisations, and the community expects its Defence Force to display and embrace the qualities linked to the Long-Term Award. These are values that we demonstrate each and every time we assist with fire, flood and disaster relief. The Australian Defence Force is an organisation of ordinary people who together can achieve extraordinary things. This award enables the Defence Force to highlight the achievement of today's youth, who will become tomorrow's leaders. The Australian Defence Force wishes to recognise and reward students who contribute to their fellow students and to the broader community by displaying the qualities of leadership, teamwork, respect for others, by doing one's best and mateship. This year's recipient has, without question, applied all these values that underpin the Long-Term Award. I would like to congratulate Tiana Carey. This year, the ADF has sponsored a new award, the Australian Defence Force Future Innovators Award. This award highlights the values which the Navy, Army and Air Force place on STEM skills. The world is a complex and ever-changing environment. The Australian Defence Force strives to maintain a technological superiority by utilising state-of-the-art equipment and advanced training for all our personnel. STEM skills are critical to assist with all elements of Defence Force's work, including reasoning, problem solving, application of rigorous analysis and objective and critical thinking. This year's recipient has proved that they can apply these skills, and I would like to congratulate Jessie Mosen.
Thank you, Craig. Please accept this token of our appreciation for coming tonight from Thornlie. Thank you. Next, we have the Sportsperson Award, presented by Glenn Henley, the Deputy Principal of Welfare.
Evening, everyone. This student is a deserving recipient of the Thornlie Senior High School Sportsperson Award, having excelled at both school and community level across multiple pursuits. Our winner has represented the school with distinction in cross-country running, inter-school athletics and volleyball. He was the number one choice to captain the 2020 inter-school athletics team, but was unfortunately beset by injury on the eve of the event, and we can still see that tonight. Our award recipient has represented Western Australia in athletics at National Junior Championships and has notably won state medals in high jump, triple jump and relay running. The student was the nominee choice of the Health and Physical Education staff with respect to his unwavering demonstration of excellent sportsperson-like conduct, not only in the field of athletic endeavour, but most importantly across all facets of school representation and obligation. The Sportsperson Award for the class of 2020 is Raphael Shepherd.
Congratulations, Raphael. Next we have the Christopher Talentine Citizenship Award, presented by Mr. Chris Talentine, MLA, and member for Thornlie.
Thank you, and first of all, congratulations to the graduating class of 2020 and to your parents, family and carers, all of you who've helped get these wonderful people here, to the teaching and non-teaching staff as well. Now, education is a fantastic gift. When I was a student, I was probably one of those who was a bit slow to unwrap the gift, but the good news is it's never too late to learn and to enjoy learning. The most important thing that you've learnt in your time here at Thornlie Senior High School is how to get along with other people, how to understand and appreciate people from different backgrounds, different personality types, and that's what a real-world education is truly about. And that's what this Citizenship Award is about. This year's winner has been instrumental in the organisation and running of various school events. She has shown a strong commitment and service to the Thunder Ohana Cheer and Dance program since Year 7. She has represented the school at many local and interstate competitions over the past 6 years. In Year 12, she was elected as the Thunder Ohana All-Star Cheer and Dance Captain and has been a mentor to students across the whole program. She led the staff dance classes for her Certificate 2 Dance Unit of Competency, working with others, and has always immersed herself in all aspects of school life. The winner of the Chris Talentire Citizenship Award is Rhiannon Davies.
Congratulations, Rhiannon. Chris, we have a token of our appreciation for tonight. Thank you, Chris. Okay. Next, we have the Matt Keogh Big Picture Award, presented by Mrs. Beverly Maloney, School Board, on behalf of Matt Keogh.
Before I give this award, I want to give a word of congratulations to the Year 12 students on behalf of Teresa Lyons, our chairperson of the school board. As chairperson and behalf of the Thornlie Senior High School's board, I would like to sincerely congratulate you on your graduation. The year started off like no other, and you have all overcome more than any other Year 12 graduating class in modern history. This cannot have been easy for you, but you did it, so well done to all of you. Class of 2020, thank you for your contribution to Thornlie Senior High School. We are all proud of you, and we wish you all the very, very best for your future. May it be happy, healthy, and prosperous. Congratulations. Now, the Matt Keogh Big Picture Academy Recognition Award. This award recognises a student who has, throughout their stay in the Big Picture Academy, demonstrated that they have both understood the opportunity they have been given to concentrate on discovering and pursuing their interests and passions and applying themselves to excel in every endeavour. There are many adjectives we can use to describe the recipient of this award, like autonomous, reflective, consistent, confident, and engaged. As the award definition suggests, this young man has embraced the learning design of Big Picture. He has discovered and pursued passions and interests, created relationships with mentors, and discovered and participated in multiple internships, which has given him an invaluable real-world learning experience. From very early in his Big Picture journey, he has had a very clear focus on his future career and personal goals, where he's demonstrated the ability to plan, implement and adjust. It is with great pleasure that I announce the 2020 Big Picture Academy Recognition Award, Josh Symes.
Congratulations, Joss. Bev, thank you for coming tonight. Here's an appreciation. Next, we have the Rotary Club of Southern District's Community Service Award, presented by Mrs. McDonald.
It is my pleasure to present the Rotary Community Service Award on behalf of the Rotary Club of Southern Districts. This award goes to a student who is a positive role model in both the school and the wider community. They've been involved in the Thunder Ohana cheer and dance program since Year 7, and they were elected as the Thunder Ohana Mentor in 2020. They have been a student counsellor in Year 11 and 12 and have organised multiple fundraising events through the Student Council and health studies. This person has taken part in school activities, carnivals, staff versus student sport, fundraisers, showcases and cheer competition, as well as assisting in community fundraisers. The winner of the Rotary Community Service Award for Service Above Self goes to Rani Brown.
Congratulations, Rani. Next, we have the Thornlie Senior High School Best All-Rounder Award, presented by Ms. Sue Cuneo, Regional Executive Director of the South Metropolitan Education Region.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to add my congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. You'll never get a greater gift than education. The Thornlie Senior High School All-Rounder Award goes to a student who applies themselves academically, physically and socially at school. This person has demonstrated this in the classroom, with one teacher stating that in 38 years of teaching they are the best student in metalwork that he had ever taught. On the sporting field, he is the current co-captain of the Rugby Academy and has represented the school in the International Sevens Tournament in Singapore in 2018. He was a member of the 2018-19 West Coast Pirates Rugby League squad. He currently plays first grade rugby league with South Perth Rugby League Club and was the recipient of the 2020 Tamanako Pene Player of the Year award for Thornlie Senior High School Rugby Academy. He consistently performs to the highest level both on and off the field. His potential as a student has been recognised since Year 10 with his selection by Chevron Australia for their prestigious Aboriginal Scholarship Program. Over the last 3 years, has taken every opportunity afforded through the program and the school to achieve the academic, sporting and career goals. He is a role model to others and has done his mentors, school and his family proud. It is with the greatest of pleasure that I announce Jacob Kerr as the recipient of the 2020 Thornlie Senior High School All-Rounder Award.
Thank you, Jacob. Well done to you. Sue, please accept this token of appreciation. Next, we have the Personal Excellence Award presented by our Mayor, David Good, JP, City of Gosnells. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. As Mayor of the City of Gosnells, and on behalf of my fellow councillors, it gives me great pleasure to be here this evening to deliver the Personal Excellence Award. Each year, we award a student who has excelled in their studies and is a positive influence on their cohort of students. The winner of this prestigious award studied 5 ATAR courses in Year 12 and has achieved highly in all of them, with a predicted ATAR of 91.1. Yes, I will repeat that again. 91.1 predicted ATAR. The winner of the Personal Excellence Award for 2020 is Dev Kumar Patel.
Dev Kumar. David, please accept this token. Next we have the Mark Smith Triumphant Spirit Award, presented by Mr. Gary Roberts, Manager of Student Services.
Thanks, Nigel. Good evening, everyone. Many of our students face challenges and barriers to success in school and in life, and the Mark Smith Triumphant Spirit Award recognises these qualities in all of our students, which is required to prevail over adversity, that is, to demonstrate a triumphant spirit. Mark himself was an employee at Thornlie as a school psych who battled his own health issues whilst at work, undergoing chemo, having a sleep during the day and then working again. So we named the award after him, and before he ended up dying at a very young age of 36 this year. During our recipient's primary schooling, he shifted between houses, living week about between mum and dad. Complicating this further was that due to mum's work, he also spent time in mum's week, a couple of nights at grandma's and a couple of nights at his auntie's place, as they were always there to care for him. Mum lived in Armidale and Dad in Thornlie. Due to ongoing bullying at this time, our recipient described himself as a quiet student who did not interact much with others. He found reading and writing harder than other subjects, so he tended not to try as much in those ones that he did like and try in the ones that he was good at. Mum had a partner, stepdad, who had a daughter who required speech development, and our recipient would help her with this and would look after her, such as his caring nature. When our recipient came to Thornlie Senior High School in Year 7, he found it hard coming from Armidale and would often be late to school or not attend at all. He didn't enjoy school and thought it boring. He wasn't interested in any of his subjects. Mum worked long hours doing mechanical work, and stepdad was FIFO, so he didn't see him often. But he had a good relationship with him. During Year 7, he began living with his father full-time in Thornlie. His dad would work all week, playing his passion at softball on the weekends and spending the occasional weekend away with the softball team. This left our recipient often preparing his own meals for himself, a variety of microwave dinners, as he described to me, flavoured up with his favourite sauce and mayonnaise. Take-out food also featured, as this was easy. He had to get organised for school himself, get to school under his own steam, some sort of wheels, skateboard, a bike maybe. He was good for school uniform, but he does remember Miss O'Callaghan Munt giving him a hard time for not tying his hair up in home ec, which he only did after a teacher-student struggle. Our recipient did not handle all this very well with his attendance dropping off, and the mainstream style of learning was not working with him as he progressed through Year 9. So he was counselled to join the Big Picture program for Year 10, which is resourced to allow for more one-on-one study and individualised study habits. He remained in the Big Picture Academy until his completion tonight of Year 12. He had a good friend in the Big Picture Academy, Zenith, who shared similar interests such as filming, BMX and mechanics, and they both wanted to complete Year 12. Zenith was a big help for our recipient during his struggles at home and at school. The Big Picture Academy at Thornlie has been critical in enabling him to aspire for success. And he has also received huge support from his girlfriend, Tulia, and they are still together now. She was and is a positive influence in his life, keeping him on track to complete Year 12. Whilst living with Dad in Year 11, our recipient was expected to pay for privilege items, as he called them, such as chocolate or soft drink. So he started working at McDonald's to earn some money to pay for these and other things. This expectation shifted from privilege items to essential items, such as food and socks and jocks and the like. This led him to wish he could move out of home and live independently. Our recipient was a full-time school student, 9 till 3, trying to complete his Certificate 2 in creative industry, whilst working 3 times per week at McDonald's, completing a Certificate 2 in retail, 4 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. This ended up costing him 50 hours per week of his time, and school suffered as its priority shifted to the employment focus. At the beginning of Year 12, our recipient worked in partnership with our school psychologist, Alison, and an external organisation to arrange for him to live independently in Vic Park, with 5 other housemates who were also working, aged between 13 and 20, working or studying, and also living independently from their families. His relationship with his dad is okay now. He sees him at softball and team gatherings and at his recent birthday. He has been living on his own now for almost a year, has a housemate, and smiled when he told me to say a lazy housemate, he says, and is still together with his ever-supportive girlfriend, Tulia. Our recipient has finished his Certificate 2 in retail through school, through the McDonald's organisation, I should say. He is also working as an area leader at McDonald's store, such as his commitment and quality of work, and will be starting his Certificate 3 with this company in retail management. This will lead to his grey shirt as a shift manager and then a store manager in time. He has completed his Certificate 2 in creative industry at school also. He works on his mate's YouTube channel in his spare time, with his latest effort producing the Related Goods mixtape video for this channel. This showcases 2 of his passions, which is BMX riding and filming, and he has aspirations to travel and to manage a camera videography type shop. Our recipient's attendance in Year 12 has improved to the extent that he achieved his school goals. Mrs O'Callaghan will notice he's cracking short back and sides tonight, and that's made her smile. Mr Turner, Dr House and Mr Marks, how are you, Ben? Who has transferred out on his own promotion. They're very proud of this recipient, this student, and he understands how important they have been as staff to enable him to stand here this evening. Our recipient is looking forward to getting his own car, one big enough to carry his bike and perhaps squeeze his girlfriend in and head out. One day he would love to own his own house also. Nowadays our recipient is happy and he's calm and he's motivated. He stands side by side with Tulia, knowing he still has plenty of work to do, and he's looking forward to the future. And something he might not have said a couple of years ago. So please congratulate our Mark Smith Triumphant Spirit recipient for 2020, Sam Sucker.
Congratulations, Sam. Next up we have our P&C Award for the General Ducks. It will be presented by Ms Michelle Manolis, the P&C President.
Good evening, everyone. To the Year 12 graduates, I wish you a very bright, happy, healthy and safe future. I think it's your turn to do some applauding. I would like you to acknowledge that this Friday is World Teachers' Day celebrated in Australia, and I'm sure you've had that special someone at Thornlie High School who has maybe helped you along the way when times have got a bit tough, or given you a little bit of extra support. They may be here tonight or they may not, but families and students, if you could please join me in a round of applause for the staff at Thornlie Senior. And students, you've had plenty of friends and lots of family that are maybe joining you tonight that have helped you get through the extra years. You've gone from year 7 through to year 12, and tonight's your night. But if you would like to turn around to the people behind you and next to you and give them a round of applause as well. I would like to present the General Dux Award on behalf of the P&C. This award is presented to a general student who has excelled in their studies and has achieved the highest number of A grades in Year 12. This year we have 2 winners. They could not be separated by their course grade averages and neither by their subject award marks. They both achieved 4 A grades from their 5 subjects. The winners of the Thornlie Senior High School General Dux for 2020. Please join me in congratulating Joe Craig and Amber Richards.
For your good work that you do at our school. And finally, we have the Lions Award for the 8R Ducks. It's presented by Mr. David Spray, the President of the Gosnells Lion Club.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave from the Lions Club of Gosnells. It's my great honour to be invited here tonight to come and be able to present this award. It's one of the reasons why we do Lions. We like to serve and support education. The award tonight is the ATAR Ducks. The award is calculated by using the predicted ATAR calculations set out by the Secondary Support Branch of the Education Department of Western Australia. The winner of this most prestigious award has an outstanding predicted ATAR of 91.95. The winner of the Thornlie Senior High School ATAR Ducks for 2020 is Hong Yung Chen.
Congratulations, Hong. David, thank you for coming and thank you for the support that you give for me. Okay, it's now my pleasure to introduce the Thornlie Senior High School head boy and head girl for 2020, Tiana Carey and Joe Craig, to present their valedictory speech and a media presentation.
Good evening, teachers, parents, and of course students. Today is the last day we get to label ourselves as Year 12s. For some, after today, the next step forward is into tertiary education. But for most, full-time work is what we see ahead of us. 2020 didn't start off like we thought it would. We were both nervous and excited about entering our last year of school and then to see what our futures will hold. Of course, as it's still happening, COVID struck and we went into lockdown for what we would see as forever. As we sit here today, we can successfully say that our state is better off than others, and it gives me the privilege to speak in front of our amazing class of 2020 and other alike. For starters, we must thank Miss Miller, who has been in charge of looking after this mismatched group of students. I'm sure it has been a difficult job trying to keep us in line while also dealing with teaching classes and anything else happening outside the school zone. From the bottom of our hearts and many others sitting here today, we say thank you. Next, I must say thank you to my family. My sister is one of the strongest individuals I know. Although she stirs me crazy every other day, my sister is a fighter. Fighting through a disability, she strives to be like me and like you. I thank my mother. She ensured me I was well fed and had the tedious job of waking up a teenager in the morning. And finally, but most not of least, I thank my dad. When teachers couldn't teach me, you did. I hope to be able to grow to be at least half the man you are. Now for what everyone who came here, the amazing class of 2020. Gosh, where do we start? We were the first year 7s in high school and a whole new type of students teachers would have to deal with. We came from primary school, being the big fish in the little pond, and as soon as we entered those gates, we became the little fish in the big ocean. Now as this chapter ends, after 6 years of ups and downs, I am overly joyed to have spent the high school career with every single one of you. For what is to come, we have no idea. I hope we all see each other in the next 50th anniversary and see what we've all grown up to in the adult world. I'll miss school. I'll miss no matter the school brought. No matter what was happening, at home or how horrible work seemed, when we came to school, we were just another student. I'll miss the times we spent together. I'll miss the dodgeballs, the trash-talking teachers, and hell, I'll miss the pretending to be sick to get the day off school. I'll miss the time I've spent at Thornlie. It really went past us quite quick. As I end off now, I commemorate all the skills we have gained, the memories we have created, and the title, Undefeated Champions of Dodgeball against the Teachers. To the class of 2020, good luck in your future, and wherever you go, follow with your heart. Thank you.
Good evening, distinguished guests, staff, families, and the graduating class of 2020. Firstly, I admit that writing this speech was extremely challenging for me. As one who has a knack for artistic flourish, often loudly expressive or questionable forms of dialogue, and at times won't silence myself, I sat there stagnant, completely lost for words on how to express and say goodbye to these past 6 years at Thornlie. But the most common matter that became most apparent to me was the sense of acceptance here at Thornlie. Such a significant value that was able to, and I'm certain will impact on many other members of this school community. I've had faith invested in me as your leader and been encouraged to find my passions in a safe and supportive environment. And it is because of this I stand here a proud and confident individual and graduate of Thornlie here tonight. I find we often get asked the old saying, if you could go back in time, would you end up changing anything? For some of us, yes. There's so much would go back and change, and that would be my initial answer too. But my simple answer to that now would be no, because I've learned that even in our darkest of downfalls, it all ultimately led us to this pinnacle moment in our lives. The past and upcoming memories and opportunities standing before us that we'll one day tell our own kids about, or perhaps at our 50-year reunion where we're all old and wrinkly, still kicking it back with each other while sharing the trials and tribulations that shaped us into who we are and still becoming. To our families and their endless support, our biggest support systems, even when we pushed hard, they always seem to push us harder. The ones that encourage us to follow our dreams rather than going back to bed and continue dreaming. And to the strongest, most resilient woman I know, my mum, thank you for sacrificing so much for me. This year we tried to create a road and understand how to do this when nobody else had done it this way before. We took each day as it came, while the uncertainty of what our final year may look like lied ahead. We consoled in each other and the people closest to us that knew exactly what was going on and could sympathise with us. Finally, to my peers, I've had the privilege and honour of growing with you over the years and being your leader, and I thank you for allowing me to do so. But what I am most proud and thankful for is that all that a year group you have taught and given me as well as each other. All the good, the bad and the ugly. So I thank you. I thank you for the countless, both unforgettable and forgotten memories. I thank you for the sounds of gasping to breathe laughter shared between you all. I thank you for the overwhelming times, all the tears shed, loss or strange friendships, and all the other inevitable times we've shared together but led to personal growth. I wish you all nothing less than true happiness, good health and success, of which you all deserve and are capable of, even if you don't think so. So dig deep, work hard, and find it in yourselves. Everything will come in its own due time. But my lasting words to you all, none of us know where or how it's supposed to go from here. But what I remind you is that although this time is filled with lots of change, uncertainty, and transition, may you be reminded that it's who you are that will always remain constant. Class of 2020, I wish you nothing but the best in your journey, and I thank you for being a part of mine. Thank you.
Good evening, parents, staff, special guests, and of course the graduating class of 2020. Sorry I can't be with you to help celebrate tonight. I'm a bit disappointed that I haven't been able to be there and watch you all walk across the stage to each receive your graduating certificates. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the teachers and parents and everybody that has played a role in seeing our students achieve like they have and get them to be here tonight. To the graduating students, I encourage you to make a commitment to your future, to find out what it takes to achieve your goals, and then do whatever it takes. And don't stop until you get there. I wish you well, congratulations on your journey so far, and good luck in all your future endeavours. Thank you.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
I was left to my own devices. Many days fell away with nothing to show, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Grey clouds all over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? We were caught up and lost in all of our vices. In your pose as the dust settled around us, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this?
you all just seem to come together as a group.
This year group is quite mature in their outlook.
You guys are just such a friendly group.
Keep reinventing yourself when things around you change, you change too.
And the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from us. But if you close your eyes, where do we begin? The rubble or our sins? And the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from us. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? Oh, how I'm beginning to be an optimist about this. How I'm beginning to be an optimist about this. If you close your eyes, does it almost feel
Class of 2020, look after yourselves, chase your passions.
I think all of them will be further trained and employed in 5 years. There's almost no doubt in my mind.
Whatever comes along, have a go at it, try and do it, try and learn from it, and somewhere down the track it will become useful.
All the best.
Hello, hello, hello.
Start of the end of the world, but it's feeling just like every other morning before. Now I wonder what my life is gonna mean if it's gone. The cars are moving like a half a mile an hour, and I started staring at the passengers and waving goodbye. Can you tell me what was ever really special about me all this time? But I believe the world is burning to the ground. Oh well, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come. Well, I believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come. I think it turned 10 o'clock, but I don't really know. And I can't remember caring for an hour or so. Started crying and I couldn't stop myself. I started running, but there's nowhere to run to. I sat down on the street, took a look at myself. Said, where you going, man? You know the world is headed for hell. Say your goodbyes if you got someone you can say goodbye to. I believe the world is burning to the ground. Oh well, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see how far we've come right now. Let's see how far we've come. I believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we've come. Yeah. Let's see how far we've come. It's gone, baby, it's all gone. There's no one in the corner and there's no one at home. Well, it was cool, it was just all cool. Now it's over for me and it's over for you. Well, it's gone, baby, it's all gone. There's no one on the corner and there's no one at home. Well, it was cool, it was just all cool. Now it's over for me and it's over for you. I believe the world is burning to the ground. Oh well, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come. Well, I believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we've come.
Thank you, Joe and Tiana, for those amazing speeches, and Ms Herbertson in the Year 12 Media class for putting together that presentation. Now I'd like to invite the Year 12 coordinator, Ms Miller, to give her final words of wisdom and advice to the class of 2020.
My cheeks hurt from laughing and smiling all night. Gosh, that was fun. Before I do address all of you, I would like to firstly, would like to give a gift to our student council team. So if I can please ask Mrs McDonald as well to come up and join me just to hand those gifts out before I do speak tonight. Thanks again, Ryan. And Rani. And Joe. And Sienna. Thank you, Mrs McDonald. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the dedication and hard work of our class of 2020 in their efforts to complete Year 12. Standing before you all on this stage brings back many memories for me, as I too graduated in this very auditorium over a decade ago. During your time at Thornlie Senior High School, you've collectively demonstrated yourselves to be caring, generous and a vibrant group. You've created and shared lasting memories with each other that I know you'll cherish for years to come. I hope that you maintain the strong friendships that you've made over the years and continue to surround yourselves with people who encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Thank you to those who have joined us tonight to celebrate and acknowledge the achievements of your loved ones. As part of their transition from Year 12 to the next phase in their lives, we felt it was important for our Year 12 students to take a moment and reflect on what they have achieved so far and how they've been supported along the way. They've considered that completing Year 12 is not only an achievement for themselves, but those who have dedicated an enormous amount of time, energy and love to ensure they have arrived at this point. At the conclusion of the ceremony, each of our students will receive a rose to give, which symbolises their appreciation for all that you have done for them over the years. It is now time to say farewell, and that I wish you all the very best with your future. I'm so very proud of the young adults that you've become, and on behalf of the staff at Thornlie Senior High School, congratulations once again. Can I please ask the audience to remain seated whilst we farewell our class of 2020 and our special guests leave the auditorium tonight. It's now time to exit the auditorium, so Year 12s, this is your time to shine and let's celebrate them.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something